So there are a couple of points on the Camino Portugués where you can switch between the central route and the coastal, or the coastal and the central. And so in this video, I'm going to show you one way to do that. One thing that I read that was recommended, if you want kind of the best of both, I'm sure there are different ways to do it, but the recommendation is to start from Porto on the Camino coastal route and walk up to Caminha, which is about 5 stages. And then at Caminha, this is right kind of on the border of Portugal and Spain. So before you take the boat to get over to Aguarda, and that would continue on the coastal Camino Portugués, at Caminha, you can cross over and connect to the central. So that's what I'm doing today. I just walked some of the Camino Portugués on the coastal way. I did 4 days to Caminha, which was kind of some big stages. 5 is probably a little better. So I just left Caminha. I crossed the bridge. The signs are pretty well waymarked. You kind of go up to where you would catch the ferry, and instead you get the ferry or you can cross the bridge. All right, so from Caminha, here, we can take the boat across the water to continue on the coast, or this bridge will connect us to the central route. And so now I am heading toward the name of a town that I forget. I'll put it down here. I think to get over, and once you get to that town, that's where it intersects with the central route. It's almost 30 kilometers to do that. So I'm actually going to split it up into 2 stages. It does make for 2 shorter stages, but it'll give me a lot of time to kind of explore and sort of take it easy, especially after the big stages I just did. So let's go. Yes, the name of the town is Valença. That is where the central Portuguese will meet that, and I'm going to stop in Vila de Cerveira, which by road 11 kilometers and Valença is 26, but I think the Camino path will take us off the road a little bit, so it'll be a few kilometers longer. Yeah, and just like that, right after I recorded that last video, the path kind of takes you away from the road and down onto a much nicer area to walk in. So there is an albergue in this town. So this is only a few kilometers past Caminha, but could be an option for a place to stay. So I just stopped in this town for a coffee. Now it is not far past Caminha, but a second coffee is always good, and depending where you're coming from, it could be a nice place for a rest. It was a really pretty village, and I think if you're going to split the stage into 2, I think that's the only place that has services. Now it's a short stage, right? It's only, well, I don't know how many kilometers, 14, 15, 13. But I don't think there's any place kind of halfway through with services. So that's your chance to get a coffee, stop, sit, get a bite to eat. But now I'm continuing on. I don't know how much further I have. I might still have 12 kilometers to go. And I have been taking it really slow this morning, but that is okay. I have all day. Open toilets at this church. There was a climb to get up to this kind of forested part. This walking is really beautiful now, and it's nice in the shade. It's not so bad, but in the sun today, it's pretty hot, and I'm sweating a ton. And that climb wasn't bad, but on the coast, I've been kind of used to a lot of flat walking, so it's like I almost forgot that there can be some up and down. So there is a little bit on this route, and I will try to include or link to an elevation profile. Lovely rest area. Perfect. I was just thinking I wanted to sit down, eat a peach, refill my water. It's perfect. So just a note about waymarking on this route and the signage, it is excellent. I think it's been so great. There were some parts that kind of wound through different neighborhoods and residential areas, and you just have to keep an eye out for the Camino signs. There was one part where I think the Camino crossed a road, and there was kind of an option to go down a little or to go up, and I started going up, and then there was a woman in her yard who like pointed me in the right direction, and I would have figured it out because there was a sign. But generally there are arrows and wooden signs and metal signs and stuff everywhere. It's I think would be really hard to get lost on this connector route. So in case that's a worry, knowing that okay, this isn't really an official path, it's really just a connector, it is very, very well marked. Splitting this stage in two. This is one option of where to stay. It looks beautiful. No more beds available. I like that sign. So I did try to make a reservation there, but I just tried last night and they said they were full. So I am continuing on to another hostel where I did make a reservation. I think that place would have been really nice, but maybe because I don't think it's just for pilgrims, it could be a good idea to plan ahead and reserve ahead for that. I will say though that Casa Gwendolyn, the place that I just passed, it is a little bit outside of town. I think, not sure how far, maybe another kilometer yet. So I am still walking. Where I'm staying is not, I don't think it's in the city center, but it's closer than this place. So that's also just a consideration. Okay, actually my place is really close to the center of the city there. Only took maybe 4 or 5 minutes to walk. Here it is. Online it said it doesn't open till 6, which seems super late. But I'm gonna hope I can get in now. It is almost 4 o'clock. I had a very long leisurely lunch. All right, let's go see. So this town of Cerveira is charming. This kind of, the connector route between the coastal and central route, it wasn't at all part of my original plan. It actually feels kind of random, but, and I, typically if this had been part of my plan, I probably would have just done it in one go and walked the 29 kilometers. But it just kind of fit into the time, and I've had some big days and wanted to take it a little slower. And I love that I stopped here. This town is like my perfect kind of Camino town. I had such a good menu del dia lunch. The hostel that I'm staying in, while, pilgrims do stay there, it's just kind of like a youth hostel, I guess. I mean, anyone can stay. But it's really nice. There are sheets on the beds, towels to use. There's a nice common area to sit in, a little kitchen to use. Breakfast is included. So I don't know, I just feel really comfortable there. I feel comfortable here. It's really, really such a nice place. So if you're considering connecting, going between the coastal and the central, and have the time and it fits into your stages, stopping here I think would be a great idea. Okay, it is day 2 on the connector route between the coastal and central route, or vice versa, central and coastal. So I am just leaving Vilanova de Cerveira, I think that's the name of it, that charming town, kind of climbing the charts on one of my new favorites on any Camino. I, for whatever reason, really love that place. The hostel I stayed in, despite it not being like an albergue, there were definitely other pilgrims there. I just really liked it. It was comfortable and spacious, and the breakfast, the included breakfast, was phenomenal. Now, it was like, I think 25 euros or 27 euros a night, so not a cheap place in terms of Camino standards, but yeah, overall I was really happy with it. Probably shouldn't record while I'm walking by the side of a busy road. It is awfully loud. Anyway, I am headed to Valença today. I think there might be 13, 14, 15 kilometers. I'm not exactly sure. It's another short day. When I get there, I think I'm also just going to cross the bridge and go into Tui and check it out because I've got extra time. Once again, I don't know a lot about this walk. I don't know if there are many services along the way. I once again forgot to check an elevation profile. I was surprised yesterday by the ups and downs, so we'll see what things are like today. Now, I've only been walking about 30 minutes, but my Buen Camino app tells me there are toilets at the side of this church. So let's go check it out. Always good to know where the bathroom stops are along the way. And yes, indeed, here they are. All right, in this little town, we've got toilets and looks like an open bar. So I think I'll hit both. So maybe it's the gray skies today and the humidity, but I thought yesterday's walk was a little more pretty. This one has mostly kind of just gone from little village to village. It hasn't been bad at all, and there hasn't been much elevation, like a tiny bit, maybe a little bit of up and down. I think as we reach Valença, it will go up a bit, but not quite as much as yesterday. So otherwise, it's a very straightforward walk. Just stopped at a bar to have a coffee, and I think I'm only about 5 kilometers away. So about 15 kilometers today, which is very nice. And I think this town is, I think to do a short stage into the town, or if you want to continue on to Tui, both places have, I think, a decent amount to see and do, so it could be worthwhile to do a short stage. First time for Spain, 1 kilometer. What an entrance into this city. So cool. Right after leaving Valença, you kind of come down the hill and the Camino goes right to this bridge, and this is the bridge that leads over to Spain. So I'm still in Portugal, and there is the Portugal sign. sure, is this the official point where we cross from Portugal into Spain? Maybe. And we are in España. So this is the way that you connect the Camino Portugués central and coastal route. You can of course do it in either direction. Super easy going from Caminha over to Valença, and then I just had to cross the bridge here, and then it goes over to Tui, which is, I can see it in the distance just there. It's probably a kilometer or so away. So that is the connector. I think if you choose to do the Camino Portugués and want kind of the best of both worlds, the experience on the coast and on the central route, while I haven't done the central yet, I probably would recommend starting in Porto, walking on the coast up to Caminha, crossing over, and then finishing from Tui. But there are several other options. That's just one of them, but I hope it helps to see how you can connect these two routes. All right, that's all for now. I'll be back soon. Buen camino.